Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Reading Council meeting for April 20th, 2021. If you would, please join me in an invocation and pledge of allegiance. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Carla, could we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Powell,
Here.
Mr. Gertz,
Here.
Mr. Lynn,
Here.
Mr. Albrecht,
Here.
Mr. Lindemann,
Here.
Mr. Fischescher,
Here.
Mrs. Edichico.
Here.
Okay, I want to explain to the people that are watching or listening that our president of council, Chris Nesbitt, is having a little trouble getting on, signed on. He will be joining us as soon as he can get that rectified. Unless there's any objections, the minutes for the April 6th meeting, which was a regular meeting, will be approved as distributed. No objections, they're approved. I don't think there was anybody in the audience that wanted to talk. Chris, are you on now?
He was, and then it looked like he was away.
Carla, I believe there's one communication.
Yeah, I have a letter from a Mr. Patrick J. Ormond, residing at 2720 Maple Tree Court. He addressed it to Mr. Lindemann and members of council. At the last televised city council meeting held on Tuesday, April 6th, a letter was read that was clearly against the possibility of a ballot issue for all-inclusive curbside recycling. The author stated that his or her family were avid recyclers and that they had a system of recycling that allowed them to take their recyclables to the community recycling bins. First, I applaud this family for their recycling efforts, as I applaud all who recycle. And this family is certainly creative and resourceful. But the fact is, recycling for most residents in Reading is inconvenient and time-consuming, leading to a paltry 8% diversion rate for our city, according to the Hamilton County Solid Waste District. Neighboring communities such as Blue Ash and Amberley Village have diversion rates as high as 67%. The diversion rate being the garbage that does not end up in the landfill because of their recycling efforts. The communities that have the highest diversion rates have one thing in common: all-inclusive curbside recycling. Here in Reading, residents have the option to participate in curbside recycling. My family participates in our curbside recycling program, and it is very convenient and easy. With the program, we received a good-sized wheeled recycling cart with a lid that my family fills each week with our mixed recyclables: drink cans, plastic bottles, glass bottles, paper, cardboard, junk mail, etc. And we place it on the curb each Friday for pickup. The cost per month is less than the cost of a fancy coffee or typical fast food value meal. Our household diversion rate is about 90%, and we feel very good about those waste items getting a second chance at being useful as opposed to being buried in a hole. As a former teacher, I took many students to the Rumpke landfill in Coleraine Township over the years. I would encourage anyone to make that trip. For most, seeing a landfill in action will change the way you see your garbage and our future as human beings on this planet. With that said, it would be great if the city could, at a minimum, get a full presentation and estimate from Rumpke on a citywide curbside recycling program. Maybe that's already been done. For all we know, we may find that we break even as a city or even profit, as Rumpke would be picking up less garbage in exchange for more of the recyclables that Rumpke profits from. I think we should at least see a proposal and allow the voters to decide. There is certainly never a downside in allowing our citizens to be heard on the ballot. Just my thoughts. Thank you for listening. Patrick J. Ormond.
Carla.
Can you all hear me right now? This is Chris.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris.
Okay, good. So I'm back. I'm on now. Did someone have a comment on the letter that was read?
Yes, I did.
Go ahead, Mr. Lindeman.
Well, first I'd like to thank Mr. Orman for a very well-written letter. And I think with the two letters that we've received, or that I've received, it kind of shows you both sides of the coin. And, you can decide for yourself, because it's very easy to recycle and to have curbside recycling. You just call City Hall and tell them you want to sign up. That's the easiest way, and well over 800 people have already done that. And I'm hoping that talking about curbside recycling, every time we talk about it, it seems like it resonates with someone, and they pick up the phone and they make that call. So as far as very well spoken, Patrick is in the process of getting estimates, and I don't think it's just from Rumpke, because our contract for garbage and recycling is up at the end of the year, I believe. So hoping that Patrick is diligently working on some numbers so that they can present it at a later meeting. Again, I thank Mr. Orman for taking the time to write a nice letter. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Any other comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to comment about Mr. and Mrs. Orman. They are exemplary people. They just about 2 weeks ago, they went Benton Street. I don't know how many bags of garbage they picked up and trash all the way from about Hill Street to the top of the hill at Columbia. And they've been working with the Chief of Public Works, and they also have informed me of some places, one in particular at Mechanic Street for the railroad. I did contact the housing code officer, and he got a hold of the railroad. There was a lot of debris and so forth there. They don't talk the talk, they walk the talk. I mean, they actually do it, literally walking the talk. They walk all over Reading. I live up in Maplewood, but they do go all over town, and I do compliment them, and I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the letter.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Gertz, seconded by Mr. Lindeman to mark the communication from Mr. Ormond as received and filed. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion is approved. Okay. Is our guest speaker Mr. Bemis on? It doesn't look like it. There was a letter that was sent from the mayor and the safety service director. Did you get that, Carla?
The outline.
Yeah, they sent an outline of
Yes.
their topic. And, is it something that you think you can read through?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and do that.
First bullet point is the Duke pipeline. West and Pleasant Street fully open to access stadium, track, field house recycling today, 4/20. End of April, the crews will be across Columbia. When constructing Columbia, a lane of traffic will remain open with flaggers. 4 weeks should be fully off Market Street. Starting work crossing Benson at 3rd Street on 4/20. 1 lane to remain open with traffic control. Hunt Road. Scheduled for paving next Wednesday, the 28th. Took a few weeks longer than anticipated due to several unexpected issues, such as concrete pillars from bridge over creek from at least 60 or more years ago were not shown in plans. Old road was 30 inches below current pavement level. MSD sewer was 9 inches off, so that caused a delay to adjust the box properly. Any days it rained precluded work from being done. Delays caused delay with crane and crane operator, and relocate water lines. ODOT bridge over Cooper Creek. Work will begin approximately May 3rd, and 2 lanes of traffic will remain open. Thornridge Drive. Plans are at City Hall to review large size in council chambers. Bids will be received April 29th. Plans include widen road 3 feet, 18 inches each side, new stormwater catch basins, new 8-inch water main, curbs, driveway aprons, right-of-way trees removed, worst sidewalk replacement included, alternate bid to complete 100% of sidewalk, speed humps, not bumps, approximately every 500 feet. Approximately 1 million grant and 1 million interest-free loan. A reminder that VYO will be having Memorial Day Weekend Festival, and American Legion will be holding parade on Monday, May 31st, starting at 9 a.m. in Arlington Heights. The American Legion will be having 4th of July Festival the weekend prior to the 4th, which will be June 25th through the 27th, with fireworks on Sunday the 27th at 10 p.m. Thank you to all volunteers who took the time out of their day this Saturday to help clean up around the city and their neighborhoods. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Carla. We will then go to reports of council members, committees. Finance Chairman, Mr. Gertz.
My report was going to be really short tonight, to be frank. Before I even go anywhere with it, I appreciate Mr. Lind recognizing and extending his sympathy. My brother Bob lost his wife, Andrea, after an illness that she's been suffering. He's been in business through City of Reading for approximately 75 years. It started out as Doc's Pony Keg, now it's Gert's Pony Keg, and Andrea has been a major part of that growth with their 15 children, and it is great loss as far as our family is concerned and to the city, I believe. And so I would ask all your prayers for their family and for the repose of her soul. And I'm sure that things will be coming up shortly for all of the funeral arrangements and so forth. Also, we should note that one of our longtime employees of the City of Reading, he went by Jake. His name was Jim Maynard, lived on Jefferson Avenue. He passed away about 10 days, 2 weeks ago. And he also was suffering from spondylosis. So we've lost 2 wonderful people in our community, and I think we need to note that before I even talk about finance. So now, as to finance, we did get the treasurer. He's not going to be here this evening, so I was going to touch base on it. Looks like we're doing pretty well, pretty healthy. I don't have a specific report that none of us have gotten, but we're about $332,000 ahead now that where we were last year at this time, which we do need to know and have since we are granting some raises and so forth to numerous members of the employment of the City of Reading. So I hope that continues in that fashion. I'm not going to steal any thunder from the auditor, but I've been waiting for the budget report, and I think she's going to report that in a little bit, and we will have to get our permanent appropriation completed on or before May the 1st. And then ironically, within a couple of 3 months, we'll have to start working on our budget for 2022. I've always mentioned this. I think it's healthy for us to know. It's frustrating to me that other states in our union don't have as strict of requirements as Ohio does. We have to keep a balanced budget in Ohio. Every municipal government, any type of governmental agency, and that's why we submit a budget in July of each year. And then that budget is sent down to the Budget Commission of our county. And then all that gets reviewed. And it used to come back a lot sooner. It used to come back. I don't know, Danny, you remember they used to come back in February and like the end of January. But now there seems like they're taking longer. We don't get them until the end of March, sometimes, obviously, like we get into April. But the point I'm trying to make is that Ohio is a state that does require us to keep a balanced budget. If you get into a financial emergency or you start going downhill, no matter whether you're a city, a school, or a village, or a township, they will then send in people to oversee what you're doing. I remember about 40 years ago, I think the city of Norwood, when the GM plant closed over there, they had some financial problems, and for a short time, they had fiscal emergencies, and they had to go and have people oversee, make sure that they didn't get themselves too deep and not take care of their finances. And sometimes it gets pretty tough because you have to get involved with cutting back certain amenities that the citizens like to enjoy. So I do have some other things if we get to that later in the meeting, although I will admit it's been a little bit of a sad day. I may not want to hang around too long tonight, but I do want to try to participate as much as I can. And I probably again asked you to remember those two citizens in our community who dedicated a lot and did a lot for us. That's all I have. And unless somebody's got questions.
I have a question, Tony.
Yep.
You mentioned that the permanent appropriations were due by May 1st. Are we going to need to meet on next Tuesday?
Well, we're going to have, what we have is a temporary appropriation. Maybe you're well aware of that. And it was for the 4 months. At least that was my recollection. So if need be, if we have to do that, yes, we'll have to, I didn't look at the schedule of the meeting. I think it's actually the 4th, May 4th, I believe, is the council meeting. So I would leave it up to the treasurer, the auditor, and the law director and the administration that, if they can wait till the 4th, we could pass it on the 4th. It doesn't absolutely have to be passed before, but they wouldn't be able to expend any funds or spend any money or do anything until we grant that appropriation. That would be my opinion. So
Okay.
the answer to your question, which I did in a big roundabout way, was it would probably be better to have the permanent appropriation in place, or at least I think it'd be foolish to have another temporary appropriation. You could do that, but I think it would be better to try to get it done sooner than later, but I don't think it would. I'll leave that up to Sabrina, as I said, the treasurer and law director and the administration, whether they can survive from the 1st to the 4th.
Thanks,
Any other comments from anyone? Tony, I also want to, I knew Andrea also, and I want to extend my condolences and for your family's loss.
Thank you.
We would like to go to other council committee, the Utilities, Lands and Buildings Chairman, Mr. Lindeman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The recycling issue, I think, was covered pretty well. I appreciate the letter again that was received. And I also think that the mayor's letter about all the construction that's happening in the city was very well covered. So thank you for, that's my report.
Hey, Don, I would like to make one comment. I got a constituent contact me, and because a lot of this is going on in the second ward with the whole thing with PNC and the property up there, and it's not very secure, and the tearing up of a lot of the area in the town. And they're wondering why I, as the councilman, haven't solved this problem. I hate to say this, but I have very limited powers as a legislator in controlling traffic. It really is an administrative issue that needs to be solved. And I'm sure that they're trying to do the best they can, Duke, and that, but I don't know. It's been a nightmare trying to get around our ward.
I agree. I mean, I can't disagree, and I think everybody on council would say the same thing. There's only so much we can do, and the gentlemen that are behind the backhoes and bulldozers doing the best they can, and it's something that has to be done. So I appreciate the mayor giving us an update. Hopefully, Patrick is still posting something on every Friday. So
Yeah, hopefully that'll continue. All right, well, thank you, Mr. Lindeman. Zoning, Planning, and Environment Chairman, Mr. Powell.
Thank you, Chris. I'd like to say thank you to the Safety Service Director for ensuring the traffic calming features were included on the Thorn Ridge. I've been a proponent of speed humps, not bumps, for a long time, and I'm glad to see that they're getting included on these plans. Hope in the future that we can look at other streets as we improve them, and if there's an issue, we can look at doing some traffic calming on them as well. The other thing I've been working on is continuing to research other community zoning codes as to how they handle the short-term rentals. I hope to come up with kind of a conciseness of the language and be able to run it by the law director and Katie soon. But it's kind of, some are, cover it very well and very thorough, and others, they don't address it at all. So I haven't hit on something that I really like. So we'll continue the search.
Chris?
Dave?
Any questions for Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. Oh, go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, I've got one, Chris. Dave, I think I had talked to a couple of people on, whatever the street that we're
Hottie.
looking at to limit the parking.
Yes.
And I think we should explain to them the reason that we haven't been out. Number one, I've been a little bit busy, but also, as I had explained to you, that we probably won't do anything till after the school year anyway, since, we don't want to make changes because the girls are going to get so confused anyway. So we'll wait until after the school year. We'll make sure that we talk to the residents before anything's done, and maybe wait for a little bit better weather since it's going to snow again tonight. So
Yeah, that sounds like
I
a
just wanted to
plan.
make sure that citizens understand that.
Chris, I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Lindeman.
Dave, do you have any more information about the traffic study on Columbia and Reading Road? Are they going to wait till after school's closed to do that?
I have no information on that. I can contact City Hall and see if we can get you an answer on that.
Thank you.
Dave, that's in my committee.
Okay.
And yes, I do. Don, yes, I have talked to Patrick, and I was included on emails to line that up. But the thing is, with the Hunt Road work being done, it would be ridiculous to try to do that right now because it would skew the numbers. Because I also want issues on Hunt Road to be looked at also. So we're waiting until we get Hunt Road open back up, and
Might want to wait until after the school year, the beginning of the next school year. Because obviously if the
Not
school is out,
possibility, we'll see when we can get it going. But I haven't even heard back, and like I said, I'm included on the email. I haven't heard back from the company that does these studies yet. So, in fact, as I was looking at that email today, but with Hunt Road being closed, there's no sense in pushing them hard until we get it back opened again.
Makes sense.
So the timing I think you're wanting is after Hunt Road is open, but before school lets out. So that we can get the
Yeah,
study
we
with
got
both of
to
those back.
evaluate it with school in session.
Right. And I think Don's
Right.
point is
We gotta-
if we
gotta
miss
do
the school
it
being
session.
in, we'll have to wait till it comes back in.
Two, the
All right.
pipeline may skew that as well, so.
Right. Especially when they're crossing Benson.
Right. And right now I know part of Mechanic shut down as well, so that could be diverting traffic in other places.
Yeah.
So once they're available, they may have to be asked to delay it another week or two just so everything lines up.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Lindeman, or Mr. Powell, that was. Laws and Contracts Chairwoman, Ms. Edichico.
Thank you, Chris. First, I want to extend my condolences to the Gertz family. I just found out about that, Andrea, just now. I grew up with a lot of their kids, so I definitely want to extend my condolences to them. Just a quick report tonight from me. I'm meeting with Patrick tomorrow to discuss getting the rental registration form added to our city's website. Once the form is up, I'd like to meet with my committee to go over writing an ordinance requiring rental property owners to complete the form. So once that's up, I'll get together with you guys and we'll find a time to meet. And other than that, that's all I have for tonight.
Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Edichico. Public Health and Safety Chairman, Mr. Fishesher.
Thank you, Chris. I too would like to extend my sympathy to Tony and to the Gertz, the entire Gertz family on the loss of Andrea. Knew the family well. They're great people, great Reading residents, and
Thank you.
she will be missed.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
The only thing I have tonight is the DEA National Prescription Drug Take Back Day is this coming Saturday, April 24th. What you can do is bring your old, unused, or expired prescriptions, medications to the Reading PD on the 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can place them in the drug take back box in the police department lobby. If you have any other questions about that, you can go to deatakeback.com for more information. Fortunately for us here in Reading, while nationally it's a one-day event, you can bring your medications to the police department anytime because we have the drop-off box in the lobby the entire year. So anytime you have drugs that maybe you were given for some ailment, you're over it, you need to get them out of your house. And this is a great way. Don't dump them into the toilet or down the sink or anything because that ends up in the watershed. So just bring them to the police department, no questions asked. I've taken drugs down there periodically, and it's a very simple thing to do. And that's all I have, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Fishesher. We will go to Service Chairman, Mr. Albrecht.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too wish to offer my condolences to the Gertz family, all of them. There's quite a few around, and Andrea was the matriarch of a large family and was a very, very good woman who I'm sure held that family together, or helped hold it together. So again, it's never easy to lose somebody that's so well loved. The new truck the truck that we ordered at the end of last year for the service department is scheduled to be delivered mid-May. So that'll be a good addition since it's replacing a truck that was pretty old and run down. The service department has been cutting down trees throughout the city and in the parks, trees that are dead, etc. They repainted the bridle their bridle sign
on Kaler, the bridal district sign. I get my teeth back in. They repaired a catch basin at Jefferson and Morrow. They repaired a water main leak on Benson, just I think to the east of Hill Street. The mechanics test is scheduled to be given May the 22nd. So we're looking forward to that and hopefully can get somebody hired as soon as possible. The service department did purchase the valve locator that we had talked about in the report from our committee report from a month or so ago. So that has been purchased. And they also got a new shoring box with the help of All Valley Plumbing. They got a grant. The box cost $6,800 and the city only had to pay $1,200. So obviously shoring boxes are very, very important whenever you dig and go deep. You don't want the sides to cave in. We've had some instances in the city of Reading over the last 20 years where there have been some real bad situations. So again, the one we did have one, I think we purchased it when I was a safety service director, but it's been a long, long time ago. And so this will be good to have and again, provide for added safety for the crews that work in the holes that they have to dig to fix water mains, et cetera. And I think that is all for this evening. My daughter says that I should talk about the fact that we got enough salt for tonight if we need it.
What's the chances they'll even collect?
What's the chances what?
It'll even collect on the hot surfaces, the warm surfaces we still have.
Well, somebody was saying that we might get a half inch or so. I'm sure it won't stay. They won't need even to go out, but
Yeah.
so
All right. It's the plants that will take the effect, not the roads.
yeah, is that it? All
Thank you,
right.
Mr. Lindeman. I mean, Mr. Albrink. Recreation Chairman, Mr. Lynn.
Thank you very much. I would also like to extend my condolences to the Gertz family. She was not only a great family person, but a great community person. So she'll be greatly missed. And she was a great friend to my mom and to many others. So she'll
Very
be,
involved in St. Pete's.
yes, absolutely. So with that, I would just like to say that Reading cleanup on this Saturday went very well. Volunteers at Quiet Park, Canic Park, St. Peter and Paul Cemetery. We had a lot of volunteers. It just shows me the community of Reading still strong. We still have a lot of people ready to step up and help. Again, as Tony Gertz said last week, that it's not only a day thing, it's something we should try to do on a daily basis and not just once a year. But I just want to appreciate all the volunteers that came out. I want to thank Diane Brown and Lisa Schoenberg, who always do very well at assigning different streets to be cleaned as people report to Canic Park. I want to thank MND students who worked with our service department. I mean, really cleaning out the quiet park. And I know that Don and Shelley Kroger were also involved in that, working very hard. So I saw them working there and they did a great job at the quiet park. I know there are a lot of volunteers at the St. Peter and Paul Cemetery. So it just makes me to be proud of Reading when I see all these people that volunteer to help. When they put out a help sign, people come, and I like that. So thanks to everybody that helped. And I think that it went very well. Pool signups, again, we'll start May 8th, the 15th and 22nd, 10 to noon at Hayfie Fieldhouse. You can obviously go down to the administration building and sign up during any business hours. Pool opens, hopefully, is scheduled to open on Saturday, 6/5 at noon. So, hopefully we can get past this year and things get back to normal. So I would just like to just go to Randy and his committee that, today there was a big hearing, that came out. And I just think that it just shows it's very, very important that Reading police do get cameras as soon as possible, not only to protect the lives of the citizens, but also to protect and show that the police are doing their job. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Tom, I may have missed it, but didn't
And I would agree
Reading
with you.
Fire Department, didn't they feed the people that volunteered?
I'm sorry, Mr. Linderman, I didn't hear you.
Didn't the fire department feed people that volunteered again this year?
This, because of the virus and things like that, there were snacks available, but there was not a grill out that we normally have. So
Okay.
there were
Didn't want you to
snacks and there
miss.
were water given out and there was different things like that, but there were no grilling out like we normally do on at that time of year.
They generally do, and I didn't want you to miss them. Thank you.
Mr. Fischesser, do you have something also?
Yeah, I was just agreeing with Tom that, you know, it's a hot topic. It's number one on our committee. Chief's out of town right now, but when he gets back, I'd already told him that I'm going to have a meeting with him, and that's one of the issues that I want to discuss is trying to move forward on that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lynn. Any new business that needs to be put into any committees? I know, Mr. Gertz, you mentioned something. Is that the kind of new business you were looking at or other business?
Well, I'll be frank with you. I had probably about 10 or 12 things here, but I must admit that I'd probably like to leave a little early on the meeting tonight than normal, and I did have a couple questions of the law director, but one did jump out at me though that maybe it's a frustration, and I of the 9 or 10 I've got here, you know, we do make recommendations as legislators, and sometimes they follow us, and sometimes they ignore us, but I go up and down Benson Street quite often, to say the least, because it's right up in the main part of my movement around town. And I don't know how many times over the last 5 or 6 years I've seen water main breaks there along the Hill Street, a little bit farther up. And when we were doing all that work this past year with all that infrastructure, I brought it up that maybe we ought to look into putting in a new water main down the south side of Benson Street and make it large enough that it could service the Hill Street area if need be. And it seemed like never went anywhere at all. And it is frustrating. Next thing I know, we got another water main break there. And that was a brand new paved area there. Now we got a great big patch. And our guys do an excellent job. I ain't faulting them at all. But sometimes, you know, I wish that we would take we have an ability to communicate a little more aggressively and maybe at least get some alternate bids and things on some of this stuff. It's just like the other one that jumps out with me was the whole issue of the underground wiring up at that we've had this controversy. The council already approved a $25,000 investment, and that's water over the dam. But I would like to see some alternate bids taken following the original path of the easement straight across, and or finding out at least what the alternate would be to take it underground all the way across Columbia Avenue and making it conform to what we originally thought we were going to have when we had the PDD. So I hope that they're getting alternate bids. It doesn't cost a whole lot more to get additional bids just in the alternative, and then they can bring it back to council, and we as a group of people working together in the community. I'm not suggesting that since this has already been decided, that it's going to have to be the school board's decision to pony up any more money. But if it's something that we would be willing to do, I think it's worthwhile to pursue. And I hope that's happening. I don't know. I don't see these things. So, and I haven't heard anything about the community development block grant monies. I don't know where we stand on the new restrooms that was approved for actually the previous 3 years. I was a little worried because I don't know if they have to be on prevailing wages. I was afraid our men do excellent work. They built the one down in Voorhees Park, and I'm real pleased with the result. Don Lindeman worked with the Chief of Public Works. I know he was part of that too back 3 or 4 years ago. And but I don't want to jeopardize the grant. I want to make sure we're on good footing. Because that's the talk I'm hearing. I don't get anything definitive that we were going to build the new restrooms at Canning Park with city employees, which I don't have any problem with them making extra money, whether it's overtime or on a weekend. But I don't want to lose the community development block grant money if it has to be done by prevailing wages and be bid. So I'm hoping some of these are being explored more aggressively, and at least maybe we can have some communication on what's going on. I did call the service director and I left messages, but I haven't heard back from him concerned. This was just yesterday, now to be fair. But I haven't heard back about some other questions of, I was casually talking with the building commissioner about expanding the building department. To be frank, I'm probably more interested in evaluating and updating and doing some things in the building department because I don't know exactly what the goal is with the rental properties being evaluated. We were told by the treasurer they already have a program and they know they communicate with them. Of course, he can't divulge that. It's private data relative to revenue that can be from people who are moving in and out of the city. But I do want to know a little more detail about that, and I'd like to see us develop more with the building department and maybe move them around. There's some property for sale, I'm aware, in the vicinity, and so hopefully we're exploring some of these ideas as well. So anyway, maybe I'll send it out as an email to everybody, and they can throw it away or look at it or think about it. Thank you.
Or you can bring it up next in 2 weeks again if you know the other items if you want. Anyone else?
One other thing before I forget it, maybe we ought to go back. Even I don't agree with these virtual meetings, but maybe we ought to go back to having a meeting every Tuesday night. You know, we could discuss some of these things among ourselves rather than just legislation, and it might help us to do that. We haven't done that for a year, and if it's virtual, I don't see any reason why we couldn't.
Okay, I know right now I probably won't be available next Tuesday night. I've made plans for a work trip. If other people are willing to populate that meeting, we should go ahead and discuss it right now. Anybody want to have a meeting in a week?
I'm available.
I will not be available.
I've got a meeting that night.
Maybe I should take a roll call because I'm hearing two that aren't. Couple ifs and nothing else.
Well, that was what we did, and that was our rules of council before we hit this pandemic problem, and then we went to just twice a month. So, I mean, that's my view. I guess kick it around, think about it. I guess we can talk about it at the next meeting.
Okay.
4th, or we can communicate among ourselves. Although we got to watch the sunshine law. I'll have Dave on my neck if I start talking about sending emails around, but I don't. Or at least in committee form. By the way, Mrs. Edichico, Thursday night's my worst night to try to have a meeting, and I want to make your meeting, but I couldn't make the last one, and I will try to make every effort. If we can either meet earlier or on a different night, I will be there.
Okay, so we won't have a meeting next week, but we'll take another straw vote 2 weeks from now. Any other comments from anyone? Any other business stuff? I'm going to change over to the law director. Go ahead, Randy.
Chris,
Yes.
could Carla, could you send the memo from the mayor out to everyone?
Yeah, that was a combination, Mayor, service director. It looks, let me look and see here. It doesn't look like, it did look like it went to, no, I'm still not seeing the right email.
I never got it.
Okay.
I didn't get it, so.
I think it was for their talking points.
And the other thing is, Chris,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, the mayor apologizes, when I guess when he talked to you about participating, he had forgotten that they had a top 10 presentation at the school that he needed to attend. So
Okay.
he
I-
apologizes and we'll get back.
Yeah, and I think that email was mainly their talking points if they would have made the meeting. So that's probably why I didn't go out to
Right.
everyone, but either Carla or myself will send it out before the end of the evening. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and switch to reports from the staff. Law Director, Mr. Stevens.
Chris, I have no report, but I would add my condolences. Tony, please give Bob our best. Thank you.
I will. I had a question from you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
We appreciate it. But I did have a question. I guess it's my legal background that strikes me, but I'm a little apprehensive. I don't know them, so I bow to your expertise, but I worry about humps being put in roadways. I know they put rumple things on highways to let you know when you're getting off the main drag, but do we have any specifics about what these, I know Dave's not going to like what I'm thinking, but I'm a little apprehensive about putting in barriers or rumps, or are there standards for these, Dave? Do you aware that we can actually, are we following those, do you know, on this bid process, or have you been involved with that?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to Mr. Powell?
I'm talking to you, David. Dave Stevenson. I'm sorry. I got you too. I met Dave Powell's not happy with me because I'm not, I don't mind having those, but I worry that if somebody hits one and it throws them off and then they run over some lady pushing her child down the street, then guess who's going to pay? And not only do we hurt the child and the mother, but I know we want to control traffic and I have no problem with that, but I'm always worried about putting any kind of matter that would be inhibiting the easy flow of traffic.
I don't know of any standards for speed humps or speed bumps. I'm kind of with you on obstructions in the street. I'm not a fan, but at some point, the height of whatever you're putting in there is going to become an obstruction, which would lead to liability, which would be a problem. But there may be some standards out there. I don't know.
Well, before we build this thing, I hope that we're going to investigate and make sure we don't do things that are going to put us at jeopardy.
That's probably a question for a traffic engineer, Tony, and who's ever designing the road would need to have that information.
Okay, thanks.
And I'll speak to that. There's a street in Milford around the corner from my office that they have one in the middle of each block. And, sometime come over to Milford and I'll take you for a ride. You slow down to about 20 miles an hour to go over them. It's not a giant ramp or anything like that. It's just, it goes up gradually and kind of comes down over a period of time. I mean,
They
So
do
both
have
wheels
them.
are- Go
They
ahead,
do
Katie.
have them in some of the side streets in Pleasant Ridge as well. There's one off of Montgomery Road you can drive down to get an idea. There's also appropriate signage too, warning that there is speed bumps or speed humps ahead. So it does, I guess, cover making drivers aware that they're there before they come up on them.
So are they long enough that all four tires are up on top of the hump at one time?
yes, Chris, generally they are probably 10 or 15 feet wide and they're, 4 or 5 inches high. And a lot of them will have almost like a tabletop on top of them. There's sinusoidal ones, there's parabolic ones. I don't know what specific one they're designing on Thorn Ridge, but there's different profiles for them, but they are big enough, pretty much all 4 tires will be on it at once.
Okay. That sounds significant. All right, thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Treasurer, Mr. Gertz is not here. Tony, did you want to read his? I thought you were going to earlier, or I can have, Carl,
No,
why don't
I
you read Mel's email?
Yep.
I think everybody got that email from Mel.
Yeah, he said, so far April has been an excellent month for tax collections. As of end of business day today, we have collected $1,057,726.08. We are currently running $332,231.28 ahead compared to the entire month of April 2020.
Yeah, we have these months where we do real well, and then we average out. So we still have a few days this month, and I know Mel's waiting to hear the whole month, so we'll get that in 2 weeks from him.
And I wanted to let everybody know that I sent out the mayor's report that I read earlier, so it should be in everyone's email.
Okay. And then we will go to Auditor Ms. Smith.
Thank you, President. I just wanted to give the update that the 2022 tax budget is now arrived. So I have my piece to do with that as well as Patrick, and it is due by July 20th. It looks like at 4 p.m. for this one. It's got the notice of the public hearing form with it and the auditor's tax budget worksheet that I complete, and then the tax budget form that Patrick completes. So that is there as well. I'm still working on the gap conversation with our auditors from Plattenberg. So that needs to be completed by the end of May. They asked that everything's to them by May 10th, I think the day after Mother's Day. So I'm working on that. With a new quarter for the city of Reading also comes new expenditures. So I'm working under a stack that I actually have behind me, trying to finish up to get caught up for the month, for all those expenditures that only come, quarterly. So, and then Chris, I do have a bunch of community updates for the end of the meeting. I just want to alert you to that. And that's all for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
I'd like to comment on Sabrina's.
Go ahead, Mr. Gertz.
I want to congratulate her for being accepted to the Master's Business Administration program at the University of Cincinnati. We have a very competent auditor here, and we ought to be proud of everything she does. She's very thorough, and good job. Thank you for all you do, Sabrina.
Thank you, Tony.
We will go to reading of any resolutions. There were none on Sunday. And then the reading of ordinances, we have the one.
Third reading. An ordinance authorizing the Safety Service Director to execute 3-year contract with AFSCME Local 1093 and declaring an emergency.
I had a question. Did that get amended to show the Exhibit A?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Fishasher, seconded by, I think it was Mr. Albrink.
Yes.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Powell,
Yes.
Mr. Gertz,
I'm going to recuse myself because of potential conflict.
Mr. Lynn,
Yes.
Mr. Albrink,
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman,
Yes.
Mr. Fishasher,
Yes.
and Mrs. Edichico.
Yes.
That ordinance is adopted, and the ordinance number?
2021-13.
At this time, it's your floor, Mrs. Smith.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to thank everybody for Clean Up Reading Day. Again, this year was a good success. Having the 3 locations seemed to work out very well. I helped pull a group from Mount Notre Dame that's been great stewards to the city of Reading for doing projects, and they continue to do that. So thanks to Nick Hosmer and the staff there for all their help. My next update, it comes from Walking with a Purpose, which is a new Facebook group online, and it's run by the Orman family. The person that wrote the letter tonight about recycling, him and his wife, along with Annie Hess, part of We Thrive Reading, they're getting people signed up to kind of help clean up the streets and walking with a purpose and kind of telling people what that is about. But I also wanted to lend my phone number in case anybody, wanted to call and maybe sign up for a street through myself if they don't have a Facebook capability. And my main line here at the city is 513-733-4879. Again, that's 513-733-4879. But if you are part of the Facebook world looking for Walking with a Purpose and signing up for streets, and then just the expansion of that group alone. So the Orman family's been doing this for years. We're just trying to gather other people to help. So it's really awesome. And then Annie Hess has been instrumental with getting everything off the floor. And then, Elise is one of our members too, and she designed the logo, which she also designed the Reading Farmers Market logo, which I just want to remind the public that the Farmers Market is going to be back up and running in 1 month. So we're going to have lots of events and little items for children, as well as food trucks. We're up to 17 different vendors throughout the summer, and they're going to be, some will be alternating weeks through that time. So it's just something that keeps on growing, and another positive thing in the city of Reading, and that's located at the corner of Pike and Reading Road, and kind of set back behind where Tanyu Tanning is on the side there. So there's plenty of parking there. And I'm sorry, I think it's Vine Street. It's not Pike. I'm sorry. I just work on Pike. So, and then next, my Adopt a Pot through the We Thrive Reading group. We had 62 pots available. This is the first year that I can say that all 62 of the flower pots within the city of Reading have been adopted. So this is by businesses, by individuals, by groups, by families. And it's such a great thing. So for many years, the Reading Feed Mill kind of did a lot of the pot work for us. And now we have 62 different families, and we're hoping to kind of pull the Reading Feed Mill back in to kind of help with some of our entrance areas with kind of beautification. So I just want to thank all the residents and their families and businesses for helping with that. And next, I also wanted to give an update that We Thrive Reading for the schools and the city worked together to put together an ODOT application for Safe Routes to School, which did get approved. And then the schools just did the education piece to get approved. So that's about just shy of $15,000 that the school's going to get for educational pieces for making Safe Routes to School. And then from there, the city can also do more extensive applications for actual road improvements or signage, things like that. So, we can take advantage over that over the next couple of years. So I wanted to give everyone that update that the first two pieces of that have been started. So that's pretty awesome for our community. We hear updates of other communities that have done this, and it's pretty awesome to see the infrastructure improvements that their city or townships have been able to do. And then finally, we have our Park Passport for kids in the community, that if they go to the 14 different Park Passport locations, they receive a free ice cream at Vonderhaar's. And right now, I still have 8 Park Passports. The commitment of that is $40. And I still have 8 of those available for the season. So we appreciate all the great work that everyone's doing. And I would be remiss to say that We Thrive Reading is doing great things and walking with a purpose, and it just keeps expanding. So I just want to thank everybody in the community for all their great work. That's it for me, Chris. Thank you.
Anyone else? I mean, that's hard to follow, I know. Great work, Sabrina.
Yes.
Then I'm going to say that this, go ahead.
I wanted to put a shout out to the Boy Scout troops of 633, who also helped to clean up Reading, and all the Girl Scouts that did too. I was remiss in forgetting them. They were also involved. So another group that came out and helped. So thanks to everyone.
Well, thank you for a great meeting tonight. I'm going to go ahead and end with the adjournment. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good week, guys. We'll see you.
You.
See ya.